Hey y'all, Candace here.
And Katie.
And welcome to Dead in the Heart of Texas, a Texas true crime and paranormal podcast, where we tell you some scary and true crime stories that all take place in the state of Texas. How's it going over there?
It is going good, as I am still in my undisclosed location.
Your undisclosed location.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing well. What'd you do today?
Well, another interesting day in quarantine. I drank a lot of coffee. I watched TV. I ate food. And now I'm Skyping you. That's it.
That sounds like a fantastic day. Yeah, my day was pretty much about the same. There's not a whole lot to talk about right now, and I also feel like in our last episode, talked about a lot, and also that was only 2 days ago?
Yep, thanks to technical difficulties.
Oh, yes, so much fun. So, story time, we recorded the Selena episode and then my story that was all supposed to be on one episode. Our audio cut out for the second half, so my story ended up not getting recorded. So, today we're just going to tell you one story, and it's going to be my story, a paranormal story, and then hopefully next week we'll be back on track to just our regular programming. And also, I believe the episode before this is going to be a bonus episode. We found a lost podcast recording on our computer that I somehow forgot about, and I don't know how I forgot about it, because it was just an awful, awful story. Super depressing. And that one we also had to film 3 or 4 different times, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, we worked hard on that.
So hard, and I was by that final time of recording it, I was like, alright guys.
Maybe that's why. Maybe you just had to shut it out of your memory for a while.
I mean, and also it happened, a year ago? Almost a year ago? It's been a while. You were still not married. You were.
Oh, wow. You're right.
It was either when I came to visit you in April. No, when did I come visit you? May? In May. It was either in May. Yeah, because we didn't do any recording in July.
Oh, wow. It has been a year, guys. Wow.
So, you've listened to us ramble long enough. Sorry about this terrible, terrible intro. I hope you're all still doing well, going strong, Texas. So today we're recording this. It is April 30th. It's April 30th, and Texas is supposed to open up tomorrow. A lot of businesses are saying, no, we're not going to do that. That's a bad idea. So yeah, I hope y'all are staying home, staying safe. If you do have to go out, if you're an essential worker, doctor, nurses, anyone working in a hospital or a doctor's office, my heart really goes out to you, and thank you for all that you're doing.
Seriously. Man, I still can't believe how all of a sudden, people in positions that people usually, look down upon are yeah, you're not that important. Even store employees, now they're no, you're essential. And it's really?
Yeah, so there better not be any Karens out there giving essential workers a hard time.
Yeah. If I see people being mean to checkout people or barista, I will personally say something mean to you. That's all I'll say.
Yes. Yeah, I just hope that a pterodactyl shits on your car if you're one of those people.
So guys, spread the love.
And honestly, with the way this year is going, I wouldn't doubt it if pterodactyls did come back to shit on your car. So,
on that happy note, Candace, what are we learning about?
On that happy note, let's get started. Gosh. Alright, today I'm going to be telling you a spoopy story about the Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas. Pretty cool hotel. Stayed there a couple of times. If you're ever in the area, I definitely recommend it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So the Menger Hotel was built in April of 1859. So it just passed its birthday. I can't do math, so I'm not going to do that. But anyways, it was built in April 1859 by William Menger, and with the help of the architect John Fries. William Menger was 23 years old when he first arrived to San Antonio. At the time, it was pretty much just a cattle barren town, meaning that it was just like a bunch of dudes living there. They owned a lot of property with some cows on that property. They were rich and powerful. They made all the decisions in the city. And so while he was there, he did quite well for himself. He brought Texas's first brewery to San Antonio, known as Western Brewery, and he became known as the Beer King.
A title many people vie for.
Yes. During quarantine, I have become known as the Beer Queen.
Nope, still king.
Yeah.
I would be the beer king if I was home too.
Oh man, it's rough. Actually, it's probably more like the Cosmo King.
Oh.
I've been making a lot of Cosmos. That's my go-to, and I always somehow put too much vodka in it, and I keep forgetting to buy limes.
Accidentally, Candace? I
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Oh,
Nudge,
no.
nudge.
Oh no.
Oh no. So this brewery was built on the land that the Battle of the Alamo took place on. So you know already that ground is charged with a lot of energy. A lot of people met their fates on that land.
Happy ones, right, Candace?
Yes, violently happy ones.
Oh.
No, just kidding. Just kidding. Nothing happy about it.
Nope.
For either side. So he ended up marrying a widow and local boarding house owner Mary Gunther, whose boarding house also resided on the land that the Battle of the Alamo took place on. So together they basically made that their temporary home, but I think they pretty much lived there for their entire life, if I'm not mistaken. Mr. and Mrs. Menger turned the boarding house into the hotel that is now known today. It is known as the grandest hotel west of the Mississippi. And during the struggle... I said it again. When we recorded this the other day, I called the Civil War the Struggle War.
Yeah. Well, technically you're not wrong, so...
Technically, I'm not. They struggled during the Civil War. Of course, no one was traveling during this time, so there was no guests coming to the hotel. So in order to support the war efforts, they opened it up for the sick and wounded, and they converted the hotel into a hospital. During this time, many people died there. It's not known exactly how many people passed away there.
Oh, wow.
And so Menger never lived to see the hotel return to all its splendor. He died of a mysterious illness in the hotel in March of 1871, and the entire city grieved. And I mean, like, I would too if the guy who brought beer to me passed away.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you watch Parks and Rec, right?
Yes.
Just, guys, if you have seen Parks and Rec, just think about Ron Swanson when his barber dies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say when Lil Sebastian dies. Spoiler
Well,
alert.
I'm thinking, like, similar profession, like the beer guy, Ron Swanson, and the 3 most important men in your life, the barber, and then other 2.
Gotcha. Did you happen to watch the Parks and Rec special they had tonight? Where it was like the one-off scripted series?
Wait, I missed it? Oh, guys.
Yeah, it was tonight.
Guys,
Oh,
I'm so
no.
sad. Oh my gosh. Ah.
I'm so sorry. Let me make you even sadder by telling you what misfortune falls upon the Menger Hotel.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, so, of course, like, the hotel brought a lot of travelers to the city, and honestly, it probably helped San Antonio become, like, the city it is now today. It was that important. However, within the decade after he passed away, the city expanded, and the Menger brought in about 2,000 guests in 1 year, which is a lot for the 1870s. So with the influx of guests, the Menger got some money, so it was able to update the hotel, such as getting its own gas source, which was a big deal during the time. By this time, Mary Menger, she's starting to get a little old, and she wants her son to take over the hotel, but he refuses to inherit it. So she eventually sells it to the original contractor, Major J.K. Kampfman, in 1881 for $118,500, which would be about $2.8 million today.
You know, pocket change, like we've said before.
Pocket change. Pocket change.
Oh, I just heard a cat. Okay.
Did you hear that? It sounded like it was in here. I don't think there's a cat in here.
Well, if you ever question
Ghost
our
cat.
validity, no more will you do that.
Well, there wasn't a cat at the door either, so I assume it was meowing at the door and then ran away.
Aww.
Oh my god, I hear it again.
Yeah. Guys, this is life.
Oh, hello, come on in. You scared me. I thought you were a ghost.
I was like, there's like a little cat statue in here. Maybe it was that. Okay.
Oh, I was like, I have a cat statue in here, but no, it's in my other room.
Oh.
So I'm actually in my... Excuse me. Actually in my brother's room right now. He has taken over my room. So now I'm back in my brother's room, which was actually my original room when we moved into this house.
Okay, you should just be like, you have to make up your mind.
Stop switching. We can't do this anymore.
Wait, don't you have like some say, like, no, this is my room?
Now when I visit, I'm like, alright, which room am I in? I just do what he tells me.
Candace, you're too nice.
Like, I don't really spend the night here.
Okay, that's fair. You're nice. But anyway.
Mrs. Menger sold the hotel for about $2.8 million in today money. So, fast forward to October 15th, 1924, when a fire breaks out in the hotel. This fire started in the kitchen, and it's not really known how exactly it started. Possibly that gas source they installed in 1874. So yeah, a night clerk who was working at the hotel was the first one to notice the fire, and he took it upon himself to knock on each and every door to warn people to evacuate, which good for him. I probably would have just run. Just kidding.
But wasn't that your job once? When at your old job?
Yeah, at my old job at the museum, I was part of, like, on the evacuation team. And so if there was ever a fire or anything, I would be the one to have to check every single gallery and exhibit space to make sure there aren't any guests. And if there were, I would have to be like, hey,
so
please
you
exit.
have to risk your life.
Gotta get out of the building. Yeah. And I was like, y'all pay me $15 an hour for that? I don't think so. But anyways, thankfully I never had to do it. Well, I did once, but I wasn't on the evacuation team yet. There was like a mini fire in like the elevator closet thing where all the mechanics is. So that was fun. On a Saturday, nonetheless. A busy
What a
Saturday.
delight.
But anyways, I digress. Yes. Okay. So one guest acted in like such a hysteria that they actually pushed this poor night clerk down the stairs while this person was trying to escape. But he was okay. The 101 guests staying there made it out safely. However, tragedy struck when the fire steam engine that was on its way to put out the fire ran into an oncoming streetcar, injuring 2 firemen and 3 passengers on the streetcar. One fireman was found unconscious under the wreckage, and there's no records if he survived or if any of the people injured survived or not, just that there were those injuries.
So we'll just assume they are okay?
Yeah, we're gonna assume alive until proven dead.
Well, they are dead by now, but back then.
The fire lasted for only 45 minutes. However, it did envelop the entire block of the original part of the hotel. Or no, I'm sorry. The flames enveloped the entire block, but the original part of the hotel was saved. So, some famous guests that have stayed at this hotel have been Sam Houston, General Lee, General Grant, Teddy Roosevelt, one of my favorite authors, Oscar Wilde, as well as Babe Ruth and Roy Rogers. Another less known but definitely renowned guest of the hotel was a fair performer named Bill. Now, Bill left the hotel without paying his bill, and he left behind his 750-pound bull alligator. So the staff decided that they were going to keep this alligator. They named him Bill, and they let him have free range of the atrium. So now that you know a little bit about who stayed there, it is the oldest hotel, and it's also considered the most haunted hotel in Texas, with a total of 32 to 45 ghosts. People who have stayed there have reported hearing rapping noises, translucent faces appear in mirrors, the smell of cigar smoke will appear in non-smoking rooms, and doors open by themselves.
As they do.
So, as they just do normally. So just to give you a bit of, like, an idea of how the hotel is set up, it's like in downtown San Antonio, smack dab in the center. It faces the Alamo, and like I said, remember, this was actually built on the grounds of the Battle of the Alamo. What actually stands at the Alamo today is only just a very, very small percentage of the actual Alamo fort. Mission? It was a mission, right?
Yeah.
It was a mission. I know Texas history. It was a mission. So let's kind of get into some of the ghosts that stay at the hotel. So first up, there's Teddy Roosevelt. He was a huge fan of the hotel. In 1898, he sent his leading colonel, or he had his leading colonel go to the hotel and set up a recruitment station on the patio. And then Teddy followed shortly after. He liked to have a few drinks in the bar and convince some cowboys to join the Rough Riders. And usually after having several drinks, these men would agree. And Theodore Roosevelt basically shanghaied these men.
So that's why you don't drink at bars?
That's why you don't have drinks with Teddy Roosevelt. Period. No matter how many drinks he offers to buy you.
Oh.
Oh, yes. So yeah, the next day they would wake up with a hangover, and they would find themselves on their way to Fort Sam Houston for military training for the Spanish-American War.
So if you ever thought you were having a bad hangover, not really.
Story time. Yeah? My cat wants to. She has a couple things to say about the Menger Hotel.
Let her speak.
What's up, Dusty Rose? What do you have to say about the Menger? What's that? Yes. She told me, or she reminded me to tell you a story I had when I went to the bar of the Menger Hotel.
Oh. Were you recruited for war, Candace?
No. I was there with my friend Selena, and this like really
not to be mistaken with Selena from another episode, from the last episode.
I was there with Selena Quintanilla Perez, but no. I was there with my friend Selena. We were just having a drink at a table, minding our own business. Like, I was talking to her about Teddy Roosevelt and how he supposedly haunts the hotel and the bar. And this guy just comes up out of nowhere, and he pulls up a chair and, like, sits down next to us, and we just kind of stare at him, and he's like, "Hi, I like making things awkward."
Oh.
So he's, like, super drunk, and he's, like, talking to us, and he's, like, obviously hitting on us, mainly Selena. And eventually he asks what we're doing there, and I was like, "Oh, well, you know, we heard that Teddy Roosevelt haunts this place." And so we started telling him the story, and we're like, "Yeah, so, you know, you better be careful. You might have a couple of drinks with Teddy Roosevelt and then wind up by the river in a van," which is like a quote from a SNL sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns to Selena and he's like, "Any chance you'll be there?" And Selena was like, "Nope, not a zilch, no chance." And he's like, "Oh, well, why not? Are you sure?" And so Selena was like, "Yeah, I'm a lesbian." I was like, oh god. Anyways, so we left after that.
Good.
But anyways, so I didn't see Teddy Roosevelt at the bar. I just met.
So which one do you
guy.
Which one would the rest of you prefer, guys? Would you rather get recruited for war and wake up on the way to training with a hangover, or get hit on by a gross dude?
Oh, I would definitely rather have drinks with Teddy Roosevelt. Any day, I'd be like, "Look, loved you at night at the museum." Do you have Rami Malek's number by any chance? No? Okay, that's fine. He was only there for a month, but him and his men made quite the impression on the staff and the locals. His men were called the Teddy's Terrors because they were, quote, a motley crew. And in 1905, the Rough Riders had a reunion at the Menger Hotel. Teddy was there too. And as I mentioned, you can find his ghost at the bar. He is one of the most seen ghosts there. He's known to holler at staff and have full-on conversations with them. If you approach him, he'll try to recruit you to join his Rough Riders. There was one instance when a staff member was like closing down the bar by themselves, and he hears something behind him, so he turns around and he sees a man start to manifest at the bar. And it turns out to be Teddy Roosevelt, and he's just like staring intensely at this poor bartender. And this man just like freaks the F out, which I would too. He like runs to leave, but the door is locked and he like can't get out, so he starts panicking. He's like frantically pounding, and he's like clawing at the door trying to get out. Meanwhile, Teddy's just watching him, I'm sure having a grand old time.
Oh yeah.
And needless to say, the dude quit right after that.
Yeah, I would too.
Another ghost that haunts the bar is Sally White. She was a beloved chambermaid at the hotel during like Victorian times. So the story goes about two different ways. On March 28th, 1876, during her shift, she was attacked by her common-law husband, Harry Wheeler. So that's one part of the story. Or she ran to the hotel after being attacked by him. Either way, it's recorded that the night before he had threatened to kill her, and so she ran to the police station. They let her spend the night in the courthouse, and they did a search of the home, and they were like, well, no weapons here. I guess he can't kill her. So, yeah. So they didn't do much about it, unfortunately, because this way it goes is when she returned home the next day to collect some things before work, Wheeler was there waiting for her. Either way, whichever story how it goes, she ended up dying at the hotel from her injuries. And the hotel loved her so much that they paid for her funeral, which cost about $32,000. However, I'm not too sure if that's how much it cost back then or in today's money.
Still, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's today's money, because otherwise that would have been a really expensive funeral for Victorian times. Allegedly, you can find the receipt for her funeral or the death certificate in the lobby, but I haven't been able to find it. I think that they have Menger and another person we'll talk about here in a second. I think they have pictures from their funeral at the hotel, but that's about it. So people see her in the Victorian Wing carrying towels as if she were still on duty. She wears a long gray skirt and a bandana around her head.
All right, we shall keep a lookout if we ever go.
Yes, although I don't know which part is like the Victorian Wing and which part is the regular.
Just go to all the parts. Just go all the parts.
So the next ghost is Captain Richard King. Katie, you might have heard of him. He used to own the biggest ranch in the world. At the time, it was called the King Ranch. The Kings still live in our hometown. We even named a movie theater after them. So they're kind of a big deal for where we're from. However, Mr. King, he really loved the hotel. He had his own personal suite there. When he found out that he was dying, he spent the last few months of his life there, writing his will, and he said several farewells to his friends there. When he died, his funeral was also held in the Menger parlor.
Wow.
He, of course, haunts the King Ranch room, which was his suite when he lived there. He can be seen entering the room where the door used to be before it was remodeled. People have reported waking up in the middle of the night to see him standing over their bed asking, "Why are you in my bed?" Which is a fair question to ask.
If they're in his bed. Yep.
Yes. So I don't know if he, knows he's dead or not, or what's going on with that. It doesn't seem like he does know.
I can definitely see that being the thing that happens to you.
Just like, yeah, never realize I died, and then eventually...
No. Like, staying there, and then all of a sudden you wake up, and he's just like, what are you doing here? And you're just like, I paid for the room, bro. If you have a problem with that...
No, I've been like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Am I in the wrong room? I'm sorry, let me just get my things out. I will leave. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. That would be me. Or I would run out of there screaming. I would just, like, make a Candace-shaped hole in the wall.
And then I'll just be at the bar, like, talking to Teddy and being like, oh, okay, I guess King's there. Good luck, Candace.
I'm still running.
Then I'll just be like, if you don't see me in the morning, it's because I'm going to training. See ya.
We're going to be halfway to what did I say, Fort Sam Houston?
Yep.
In a van down by the river.
Exactly. I'll be ready to, like, I don't know, beat up the Ming guy.
Also, full disclosure, I still haven't seen that SNL sketch, so I don't quite get it, but I will watch it eventually. Oh, yes! So there's another woman who haunts the Menger. She doesn't really have a name. She's just called Woman in Blue Dress. She can be seen in the former hotel lobby. A staff member once saw her. She was, like, wearing an old-fashioned blue dress, and she was knitting. She was wearing, like, small wire-framed glasses and a tasseled beret. And the man was like, oh, hi, miss, can I help you? And this woman, like, looked up and was like, she said no, very sternly before disappearing. What? Yeah? Another ghost that haunts the hotel is a cowboy. One person reported getting out of the shower to find a man dressed in buckskin jacket and gray pants arguing with an unseen person.
Oof.
He repeated, "Are you gonna stay or are you gonna go?" 3 times before disappearing. Which I would have noped the F out of there. Nope, that's not for me. So there's also ghosts in the kitchen. Staff have reported floating objects and utensils, like they just kind of float through the air from one side of the room to the other. And it's also believed the ghosts of people who died at the Alamo are there. They're mainly in the bar area. Imagine that. People can hear marching, and they've seen old military boots walking. So I assume it's just the boots walking by and not, like, legs attached to the boots. Which, I don't know, somehow just, like, creeps me out even more.
Yeah, if I saw a pair of legs and shoes walking on its own, I'd probably yeet the heck out of there.
Yeah, just, like, it's just the shoes. Something about disembodied feet, or, like, severed feet, or just feet in general, I'm not okay with it. I don't like it.
Like, the only thing I'd be okay seeing is just, like, a pair of shoes, nothing attached to it, and walking. Sure.
Well,
still no.
I think that's what people are seeing. So there's also 2 boys who haunt the bar, and they, quote, look like they're extras in Newsies. They are quite the tricksters. Keys to the liquor cabinet have been known to vanish in plain sight, and they blame it on the 2 little boys. There's also a little girl who appears in pictures that people take while in the bar. And another well-known ghost who haunts the bar is the Vanishing Gentleman. He's described as a 70s playboy. He's a very dapper man. So, allegedly, a man noticed that this guy was staring at his wife, and this man started to, like, approach the wife. And so the husband, of course, intercepts, and it was like, hey, you know, what the hell are you doing? Get her, like, she's mine. I don't like that, but, you know, that's basically what he said. Yeah. And this guy, quote, had a playboy grin on his face, and once the husband approached him, the man just kind of vanished. And then another woman reported seeing him. She was at the bar having a drink when she noticed him staring at her. He was drinking cognac and wearing a double knit suit, and the bartender didn't seem to notice him at all, and eventually he just kind of vanished. All right, the last story I have for you, I don't know how true it is, just because I've only seen this in one article.
Okay.
But allegedly, 3 dead sisters are supposed to haunt the hotel. Story goes that there is one sister who was having an affair that she had recently ended, and so her other sisters thought it would be best to, you know, kind of get out of town for a while. Well, while they were out of the town, the husband of the cheating sister found out about the affair, and he got really mad. He goes to the Menger and he sneaks into their room, and he shoots them in the head and arranges the gun to look like a suicide pact. A woman by the name of Gloria was staying at the hotel when she woke up to feel someone's hand on her back.
Ew.
And it gets worse. It gets worse. She turns around and she sees a woman in Victorian garb kind of sitting up against the headboard. Her teeth were jagged and exposed as if her lips had rotted away. She then noticed there was one standing at the foot of her bed, and then there was another woman in the bathroom doorway. And she ran out of there and never returned. And that is the story of the Menger Hotel.
Yeah.
And I am out of breath for some reason.
Well, this is the solo podcast, thanks to technical difficulties.
Yeah, the solo. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. Do you want to talk about our creative endeavors again?
Yeah, okay. So just to remind you guys that both Candace and I are pursuing some more social media creative endeavors. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel, just look up Freckled to a T, T-E-A. And then Candace?
Yeah, so John and I, the producer of the podcast, are working on another podcast called A Few Good Albums, where we review albums, and particularly ones that we wouldn't really listen to. We're trying to get out of our comfort zone and, like, branch out a little. So yeah, and then I'm also working on a YouTube channel, but I don't have anything posted yet, so I'll let you know when there's something to see.
Yeah, so if you want to see more of us, you definitely can. And don't forget to, tweet us and send us emails if you have ideas.
Yeah. You can tweet us at Dithot Podcast. That's DITHOT Podcast.
Bet you can't guess what that stands for. No.
Bet you can't. You will not be able to guess in like 100 years. You can also email us at deadintheheartoftexas@gmail.com. We're working on getting some more social medias for the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Candace.
I'm Katie.
And don't let black-eyed children buy you drinks at a bar and try to Shanghai you into joining the Spanish-American War.
Yeah, it's not a good life choice, guys.
Yeah, you can't trust those black-eyed kids. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
All right.